All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. Just a quick short message because I have to get going, but it's been a little while, a few weeks or more now, where I haven't made a video talking about the end days in the great 2023-2024. I spoke about in my book, which I urge everybody, again, if you don't already have this, to get it, read it, and study it so that you know and you have the 7 pillars of scriptural proof. Where is it? There we go. Most importantly, not my wild ideas, but what the scripture actually says. So I just want to reassure everybody, we're not nothing stopped. We are right on track, right? I very purposely had see this number here. I was not wrong about 2023. When I started warning everybody in the world about 2023 back in whenever it was 2016, I was the first person to do that, even mention that year. I always mention 2024. And it's for one very good reason that I've mentioned in this book here. Okay? Because all the maths, all the prophecies point to 2023 or the end of 2023. Like I've always said, there's something logically called year flux. Year flux best explained by if an event took place in a January or if it took place in a December, they both took place in the same 1 year, but they're 12 months apart. There you go. Simplest way to explain it. That's why, even though all the numbers pointed to 2023, I always said from the beginning, because I had the common sense, keep an eye out in 2024. Also got a chapter in here, what happens if nothing happens in 2024. Yeah, we've got something to consider for the next few years. But the meat of all the evidence points to the fact that we're in this year now. I have patiently waited since 2016. I've heralded this time since 2016. And I have not given up. And as I look around, let me tell you something, right? When 2019 came around on my other YouTube channel, Enoch the Witness, my main channel, I made a video in 2019, and I warned. I had a few, right? But the one big one that got like 130,000 views, I warned everybody that we're in the final 3.5 years. And I waited and I timed the release of that video for not the exact date, obviously, but because we don't know what date or month of the year any of the time periods is taken from anyways, right? So I never fussed over what month anything's going to happen in, just generally the year or period of years. But anyways, the point is that we're in 2024 now, okay? And at any point during this year, all of the things that I have been talking about since 2016 could very well take place. There we go, now I remember. So I warned everybody 2019 was like 2019 and a half or something like that. And I said, look, this is going to be the final 3.5 years. And you know what actually started to happen at that point? Like magic, okay? I didn't wait for the things to happen and then say that. I timed it. I put the video out in like whatever month I thought the month that I took the rollover to be was in 1948, being a key year in all those prophecies. If you're familiar with my teachings and everything, 1948, Israel was reborn. I think it was like March or something like that, right? March or May, one of those M months, one of the early part of the year. Again, I'm not fussed over what month, right? That's my whole point here. So just for the sake of having something to hinge by, I said, okay, if it's going to be something, I'm not fixing on it, but if it's going to be something, let me pick this one, right? So I picked around that time. So I published the video then. That was the start of the 3.5 final years, give or take the change of months or whatever, right? Like I said, up to 12 months, like I said, with the year flux. So arbitrarily, roughly speaking, I timed it then, 2019. So to account for the final 3.5 years until 2023 or the end of 2023 and the arrival of 2024. Also encompassing it could take place in 2024. But do you know what actually started happening in the world when I said that? What happened in the world was all the natural disasters, and you go look it up, fact check it all you want. It's 100% true. The natural disasters in the world got intensely worse in terms of their magnitude and ferocity. Every form of natural disaster increased epically on their magnitude scales starting that year. And like I said, I didn't wait for those things to happen, and it gave me the idea. Those events had nothing to do with any of my studies or teachings. Like I clued into 2023 starting back a long time ago. When I made my YouTube channel and made a video about it, it's a different story. That was in 2019. I waited for that point. You know what I'm saying? So all of this buildup has not been for nothing. When we look at the world now, folks, okay, all these events have been building up, getting worse and worse and worse. All this buildup in the world has not been happening for no reason. They can call it climate change and give it whatever fancy term they want to call it. That's an excuse. That's a scapegoat, if I ever heard one. At the end of the day, you can't deny it. I live in a place that's affected by hurricanes. Okay, other countries are affected by tornadoes or earthquakes, to each their own, right? In my place, we wouldn't get hurricanes over a category 1, 2, or 3. We might get them once in a while, not even every year. But in 2019, we started to get 3, 4, 5, or even 6 hurricanes a year. And they will come out in clusters like bap, 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 across the ocean. Okay? And this is terrifying. Magnitude category 3, 4, 5s. Okay? On a regular. So it completely changed that year. And there are tons of other natural disasters happening throughout the world. A giant crack forming in Africa. I think it was Kenya or something. Just hailstones with giant hail in the deserts. And insects covering the Mecca, and I think even the Dome of the Rock at certain points. All these various things were happening. And I know locusts happen all the time, but the natural disasters, more importantly, the bugs are something different, right? I just wanted to mention that. But the natural disasters undeniably got worse. Okay? We have killer whales now. Okay? These are actually all things that I said would actually happen, and they're actually happening, even the killer whales, funnily enough. But it's not funny, but the killer whales are turning on people. They're attacking boats, like animals wandering out from where they usually are. Just everything's going chaotic in the world. And we also have the October 7th attack. I mean, everything's ramping up and building up. And what do you think it's building up to? Climate change? No. Okay, it's building up to something. And we just went through, people are oblivious. Like, you have no clue. If you had an astronomical program like I had, right, and you look at all the space rocks and stuff flying around the Earth, potentially able to hit it, in 2023 and 24 especially, I know because I was looking at it, you could speed up, slow down the time, go back in time, go forward in time, shows you everything, right? You click on it, see how fast it's going and all this, right? There are so many things flying past the Earth in this year, I mean, just a couple weeks ago even, that when you look on the program, it's just like dots going everywhere around the planet. And then in the years after 2024, it calms down to like very, very little and then picks back up a little bit later, right? But these are all the things we know from Revelations, that almost all the trumpets, plagues, and vials involve, not literally all, but like loads of them involve rocks coming down from the sky. Okay, so those things are coming. And you got the heavenly sounds, the cosmic sounds being heard around the world. You got the highly increased prevalence of UFOs and all these alleged incidents where aliens are supposedly revealing themselves to the public. I don't know if every single one of them is authentic and true, but I'm just saying this. All this change is happening. Things are ramping up. Like, a lot of people now are saying that we might see, like a arrival of UFOs, like a UFO invasion or something like that, or just all this buzz is in the air. So we really have to pay attention in 2024. I've never claimed to know what month, day, week, year, hour, all that. Never. Just the period of years, like I put in the title of the book here. Okay, but we have to be ready in 2024. I never gave up on this. This has been my hope since I was a teenager, that I would see the end of the days as soon as possible. I could go and be with all my family and everybody and be away from this terrible world of sin and just be in a better place. That's what I always hoped for since I was a teenager. So anyways, if you want to know the reasons and the proofs for it, if you're not familiar with my teachings, just get my book. You can see the videos for free on my channel, but the best compilation is right here, all the hard work, 7 pillars of scriptural proof. And it's got to happen. The 6,000 years finished 2023, 2024. It's been 6,000 years since the first mortal human, son of man, since the birth of Seth. 6,000 years exactly. It's all laid out in the pages there. I mean, there's so many different prophecies, like from Daniel. It all points to these years. I mean, I've said it a million times before, just going at just the prophecy of Daniel alone. That's just one, so to speak, out of the 7 prophecies I cover in the book Biblical Prophecies in my book. Just one alone, the prophecy of Daniel. That one alone, when you look at it with the proper philosophical observation, like I have pointed out for people before to clarify, the odds, like an atheist scientist mathematician, if he sat down and worked out the odds would be so highly in favor that it has to be real prophecy. It would be absurd it not to be prophecy. I've laid this out before in videos, right? And that's just on one point alone. There's 7 pillars of scriptural proof, and they cross, a number of them cross over to each other, and like what do you call it? Like they cross link and corroborate each other with the maths as well. I mean, it's bonkers. There's no way that all this human history could have been mapped out with these time periods and foretold and all this by accident. This is legitimate prophecy, and it meticulously points out 2023, 2024. That lines up with the 6,000 years ending in 2023, 2024, and there's more evidence in the book. So it's astounding. Jesus was baptized in the year 23 AD, died 26 AD, proven with the mass and the scripture in the book. 2,000 years later, 2023. There's so many pieces of proof. And that's very wonderfully explained over quite a few pages, not as simply as that. That's just dumbing it down. Okay? There is an overwhelming amount of plausible and logical evidence that this is not fairy tale, this is real, and it's going to happen. And I just want to add in, even if nothing happens in 2024, you have to remember, I mean, it could happen, like I say in the book, it could happen just right after 2024. Don't sit here and give up hope at any point. This is our blessed hope, like the New Testament says. The arrival of Jesus is our blessed hope. Jesus gave us hints when this would happen. Hosea gave us hints when this would happen, that we'd be healed on the 3rd day. That means after 2 days, we'd be healed on the 3rd day. 2 days of God's 2,000 years. Jesus was baptized, became appointed as Messiah. 2,000 years later, bam. Okay? There's so much evidence that points to this. It's got to be this year. The world, natural events are just getting worse and worse. Everywhere in the world now is getting earthquakes. Volcanoes are erupting, destroying cities and everything. It's just bonkers. It's way worse than it used to be. Don't let anybody fool you to say, oh, volcanoes always erupting. Earthquakes always happen. Yeah, they do, but not to the scale, magnitude, and frequency that they're doing right now. So everything is ramping up. Absolutely everything. And don't stop waiting, watching. What was the other one? Be ready, waiting, and watching. Ready, waiting, and watching. Always be ready, always be waiting, and always be watching. And on top of that, be righteous. Okay? Be righteous. Okay? Because there's no sense of being ready, waiting, and watching, and you're just a sinner of lawlessness, and you're going to be turned away by Christ. Get ready, become righteous, reform now, pledge your righteousness to God and Jesus, and aim to be as perfect as you can possibly and utterly be to all of your extents in the given time that we may have shortly left. So, in all, I will say that I strongly believe, based on the prophetic dreams I've had since I was a child, that the very first thing we're going to see that's going to kick everything off is a great fiery star. It's going to hit the earth and plunge the earth into darkness. And that's going to be the starting domino, and everything goes into chaos. So I've had that dream so much in my life, it's got to happen. I've never lived through an actual meteor impact in my life, asteroid impact, but I lived in my dream tons of times. The whole earth shaking, all that there. So, that probably will be one of the first. No, if I remember correctly offhand, in Revelations, I did videos on this. I can't remember exactly what I said. But if I'm remembering correctly now, in Revelations, when you look at like the first trumpets, first seals, and first vials, first seals are the arrival of the horsemen. The first of which is Jesus on the white horse coming to conquer. With the vials, I think the first vial is the plague on those with the mark of the beast, or it could be a falling star. But the trumpets, the first few trumpets are all falling stars, giant rocks, whatever you would want to call them. So it does actually, biblically, it starts off with rocks falling from the sky. So that will be our first sign. And let me just, if you don't know astronomy, okay, rocks flying through space travel at like 50,000 or 80,000 miles an hour. Okay. The entire continent of USA, like North America, sorry, from USA one end to the other, I meant, is what is it, like 3,500, 4,000 miles, something like that. This thing's going 80,000 miles an hour. 80,000. Okay. It'll go flying through the sky so quick you ain't be able to keep your eye on it, probably. And it's going to come quick and sudden. So everybody's got to get ready. And everybody's been so led astray by all these people yakking baloney Christian nonsense, like fake prophecies, fake ideas, I've shown very thoroughly and conclusively, okay? I've got videos up on this. If you don't believe me, go watch them, then you'll believe. All the verses prove it, that all of those big, nasty, terrible revelation events and all the trumpet, seals, and vials, guess what? It all occurs in one day and in 1 hour. If you're wicked, you're going to stay here longer. And yeah, that's not my opinion. I never even used to think that. But there's so many verses that meticulously actually say that. And even the only two verses that talk about sparing people from the wrath, like, taking them out, the good people, it says sparing them from the hour of her wrath. Okay, so there's too many references to it. Whether it takes place in an hour or a couple hours or whatever, is definitely taking place in a day, one single day. It's not going to come. Like, people have been deceived with this idea of 7 final years of an antichrist. That's not even biblical. That's a whole nother argument. But again, I got videos on that proving that. That's a lie. You're not going to get 7 years of warning. Jesus said in the New Testament, the Word of God says that people will be living in peace and surety when the sudden destruction of the arrival comes. So don't believe these nonsensical fools telling you that you're going to have 7 dark years of an antichrist ruling the earth and depriving Christians of food. That was Islam conquering Jerusalem and Israel back in 640 AD until 688 AD, when they then put the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount, constructed a currency with the Bismillah on it, which is John's 666 that he wrote, like literally, look for yourself, mandated that currency. And yeah, back in time, you couldn't buy or sell or eat or anything without that currency with the 666 mark on it, the Bismillah. You couldn't do it. It literally, visually, is identical to what John wrote, literally in the Greek. This is not some foofy stuff like, oh, Ronald Reagan is 666. This is, look in the Greek text that John wrote, okay, in the 666 symbols, it's 600 symbol, a 60 symbol, and a 6 symbol. It's a 95% match for the Bismillah, okay? All those things already took place. Who is the false prophet? Their founder. Who is the final beast kingdom? That empire, okay, is already come and gone. They still persist in the toes towards the very end, just like it says now, mingled around everybody else, just like it says. Okay, what we see around the world now, them mingling around and beheading people and doing all that type of stuff there. I'm not saying the religion. I'm saying, you know what I mean? Don't go there. But nonetheless, it's all come true. Okay, you're not going to get 7 years in Antichrist. You're not going to get 7 years of warning. We've lived through the 3.5 years where everything got infinitely worse. A couple thousand years ago, you get one Category 5 hurricane, they'll kill everybody in a country. Okay, we've got concrete houses and steel beams and all this and that there. They didn't have that stuff back then. They didn't have ambulances and helicopters to save lives, and medicine packs and hospitals and mobile hospitals and all of that. Everybody would have died on the earth back then. We just have all this technology that's helped us survive these wrathful impacts. A lot of people have suffered and died from them, but nonetheless, that's my point. People got to clue in, man. The world is in chaos right now. The storms hitting the world right now would have leveled everything off the planet, population-wise, back in the day, right? Where they hit, at least. So we're not in some normal times. You know what I mean? We're not in the days back where Harold Camping was saying what he was saying. Okay, we're in the days of Harold Camping didn't have squat on this. Okay, but he duped so many people and they believed him. And I've never told anybody, I strongly have always been against anything I'm not hating on the guy, right? I know he probably meant well for Jesus, right? But he was just wrong. That's the thing. I've never told anybody to do any type of physical preparation. Never. It's spiritual preparation. Okay? If you want to take physical preparations, that's on you. I would just say spiritually prepare. That's more important. Just do that, right? And that way I'm not going to lead people astray, right? I'm not going to be like him telling people give away their life savings, because you're not going to need money when Jesus returns, and then Jesus didn't come back. You know what I mean? Nothing like that. Spiritually prepare. And if he doesn't come back, you ain't got nothing lost. You know what I mean? You got nothing to lose, but becoming spiritually pure and spiritually ready and spiritually prepared. And that's what we need to do right now, because just like you said, it would be saying peace and surety. If your country isn't being licked by huge Category 5 storms and ripped apart by earthquakes this year, and you're in a place that's blessed, like my place, thank God, and you're saying peace and surety, then just beware and be ready that's the sign. Well, it's not a sign, but that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be like the days of Noah. Everybody was making merry and doing their normal daily lives, and then suddenly, bam, out of nowhere, the end of the world. Okay, so be ready. Be spiritually ready. Nothing you physically do anyway is going to help. Maybe if you make a few sandwiches and put them in an igloo container, yeah, you might have a few snacks while the Armageddon takes place. You know what I mean? Or if you bring a shovel with you, maybe you could build some little sand walls or something. But at the end of the day, it's just be far more efficient to spiritually prepare. That's all I could say. Just get ready, reform, stop sinning. That's the most important thing. Stop doing sins. Any sins you do, stop them. Right? Stop them. Do it now. Stop them. Me included. Believe me, me included. We all got to stop. We got to stop it now. We got to take it dead serious. Okay? And even if Jesus doesn't come back, we have not lost anything. We got nothing to lose. It'll only make us better. Right? Is win-win, win-win. And if the end does come, we are ready. And if the end doesn't come, hey, we just became great people. You know what I mean? There you go. Boom. That's the battle plan. That's what we got to do. Okay? And just like you see Jesus in my thumbnail image, he looks pretty ticked off. That's probably he's going to come back to this earth. He's going to be turning away a lot of Christians. He's going to be pretty ticked off. He's not going to be happy doing that. He's going to be pissed off that all these Christians coming to him are sitting there doing sins. And he's going to say, be gone from me, you workers of lawlessness. And they're all going to moan, complain, and whine, just like Israel did during the Exodus. He needs to say, well, you know what I mean? I told you not to sin, but you had all these reasons why you didn't need to stop sinning. So take my advice now and reform. Okay, there you go. Ask God. Let's all ask God for dreams. I want to have more. I want to have that dream again. I want to be able to see more different things even. You ask, I urge everybody, go ask God now tonight. Go ask him to send you dreams. Even ask him. This would be a great confirmation sign for you, for me, for everybody, even for the world. Because I've had that dream of mine my whole life, like 30 years now, right? Ask God to show you, and especially if what I saw is the real deal, then just ask God, please let me be there. You don't have to be there with me in the dream, but just ask God, let me experience the dream that I, the witness, underwent. If it's real, right? If you want to throw that in there, if it's real, God, let me experience that one. That way, if you do experience a dream and it's crazy, you wake up from it, and the details are exactly what I talked about in my testimony on my both of these channels. I've got the testimony in the book. I got the testimony. If they line up, that's a divine sign. You know what I mean? If you see all the things that I saw, there you go. That would be great. And God did tell us that the sign he would give us is that he would give people of all ages dreams, visions, and all that there. So ask God. He said he would do this. Go ask him. Of all the things, all the times I wanted to ask God for signs, like, a big sign in the sky to warn, I always felt bad and took the videos down. But the one thing that we can justifiably ask for is the one that he said he would give us, which is dreams. And dreams would be more readily available than visions. Let's not be greedy. Let's not ask for visions, right? Let's just say, dear God, you said we will get dreams. Can you please give me a dream about this? Can you please let me see it? Even if it's terrifying and I pee my pants in the bed. Not that I ever did that. I'm just saying, right? Like, tell God. Let me tell you, a lot of people, if you went through what I did in the dream, you'd probably pee the bed, right? Repeatedly, wake up crying and shaking and all that. So, ask God. Let him show you what I saw in the dream, right? And if you do go through it, please tell me. Okay? Because if somebody tells me that, you gotta be credible, right? But if somebody tells me that and I find it believable, and they're not just BSing me, then that's a great sign from God. Maybe a lot of people will ask for this and receive it as well. And it's got nothing to do with me. Got nothing to do with me. Because you know why? I am just a pitiful. I gotta watch how derogatory I am about myself. I'm a pitiful sinner. Okay, I'm not some shining priestly example. Anyways, let me get going because my phone keeps buzzing. Take care, folks. God bless.